Dave can fix it later. Okay, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think it should be named something else, like 7 Habits of Highly Effective Christian Businessmen, or the 7 Behaviors of Highly Effective People as opposed to habits, or even the 7 Habits of Highly Functional or Well-Rounded People. I think, we were talking about how this book kind of was almost a direct response to, what was it? Ways to Influence People, that book, Dale Carnegie's book, which I know, How to Win Friends and Influence People, yeah, that one. And I think that book is a little bit more focused on, like, personality and actions, whereas this book is rooted in character versus personality. And so I think the title was maybe a way to, like, get people who, like, get that same audience, capture that same audience of the Dale Carnegie book, but it's actually not even necessarily about being effective. It's not really about habits. Like I said, it is more about lifestyle changes and behavior and reshaping the paradigm that you live your life through, as well as the word effective. I think we associate particularly with, like, managers and time management. And while it is about that, the book really focuses more on, like, building relationships and building a relationship with yourself. And so I think it is useful to, his audience of kind of these, like, work-centric businessmen who feel like they're losing touch with their spouses and their children, and they lecture their kids all day about what's right and wrong, and their kids won't listen. And so he kind of breaks that down and says, have you ever actually tried listening to your child ever a day in their life? That might actually help the relationship. And so some of it is like, okay, this is just for, like, assholes who are bad parents, but not necessarily. I think there's useful information within the whole book. And so, excuse me, thinking about this with time energy in mind, again, this is for, you could even say that the title is for middle class or upper middle class businessmen, because especially in the United States of America, where pretty much our entire lives are centered around work and having to work to pay our bills because everything's expensive here. I mean, Dave and I were just looking at our most recent paychecks, and it had like $200 of our paycheck taken out for taxes. Was about a quarter of the paycheck gone for taxes. It's just like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And so we're very much always thinking about our bills, what bill has to be paid next, and do we have enough money to pay that bill and buy our groceries and pay for gas in the car. And so that kind of all goes into time energy. So in thinking about these habits or these skills that Covey's going to put forward, they're not going to be practical all of the time for everyone. But I think this model gives us kind of a guide or a paradigm to essentialize what's important, because something that I think will come up as a theme throughout this course, as well as something that has come up in the past and was kind of a theme of the critical media theory course, is the kind of dichotomy, or I don't know what word I'm looking for right now, but the relationship between blaming the system and taking personal responsibility for our lives. And so we can go, oh yeah, we have no time energy, this sucks ass. At the same time, we have some control over the free time that we do have in our days. With critical media theory, it was, this technology is addicting and it sucks us in and we can't escape, the iPhone or Facebook or whatever. But at the same time, we do have some willpower in the matter. We do have some responsibility to take charge in how we spend our time. And so I think, like, the fact that you all are here on a weekend, some of you, like, it's very, very late at night, like for Sue, it's like that shows that you have considered some of these things that I'm going to get into, like in Covey or just in all this kind of self-help, at least to some extent, because there's no reason for you to be here that is external. Like, your boss isn't like, oh, go do this Theory Underground course and I'll give you a raise. Like, we're not a merited institution here at Theory Underground. So I think I can probably confidently say that everyone here in this call or who will be listening to this call in the future has some internal recognition of like what their life values and principles are. And that probably revolves around the life of the mind or philosophy or self-improvement or whatever that may be. And that really is what Covey's book is about. And so he frames it he kind of sets the book up by talking about this personality ethic versus character ethic, a personality ethic, kind of, that how to win friends and influence people ethic. So self-help books that are framed through a personality ethic and through a personality paradigm are going to give you, quick tips and fixes on how to change your life and like actual habits. Like, oh, if you wake up every day at 5 a.m. and have a 2-hour, morning routine where you do this, that, and the other. I know that's kind of the like hustle grind male, like when you see what's pushed self-help wise in the media, like the male message, I think, is that get up 5 a.m., billionaires get up at 5 a.m. and they go on a 5-mile run, like Goggins or whomever else. And then I think the same kind of thing is pushed towards women, like have an early morning, get up, eat a healthy breakfast, do your skincare. It's like, do these things, do these actions, versus the character ethic is more focused on like who you are, how you're going to be versus how you're going to act, your goals and your principles. He distinguishes between values versus principles. Principles being more like, he's very religiously based in this book, and it usually doesn't hinder the argument, but there are times, like in the very end, he's like, I think at the end of the day, we all just need to, live for God. And it's like, okay, bro. But, so I think to him, principles are maybe more religious or Christian focused principles, but they're kind of like these social rules or, guiding rules or guiding values that we all have and that we can all share. So maybe that's, integrity or honesty or loyalty, things that we can kind of all agree are, for all of human history, if we look at like the oldest texts of philosophy, they're going to have these principles that still ring true today. Whereas values, the way that he distinguished values is he said, oh, well, like a violent motorcycle gang they're all going to have a shared value, but maybe their shared value is like robbery and murder. So that's kind of the difference between values and values and principles to him. And so he focuses more on principles, but we can kind of use like personal values in reference to principles kind of interchangeably. I think we can all assume like no one here values murder and robbery and all the bad things. And so with that as kind of how he sets up the book, living our life with principles and thinking about our life paradigm. So paradigm being how we see the world, how we live our life. I lost my mouse here. Yeah, how we see the world and how we live. And so he references this to like a map. Like our paradigm is kind of the map that we have of our life. And so it's character ethic, it's life paradigms. And so he argues that all of his habits, all of his behavioral suggestions are through a principle-centric paradigm. So the way that we live our life is not through any one, like, oh, I'm a spouse-centric paradigm where I just live for my spouse, or I'm a family-centric paradigm, I just live for my family, or I'm money-centric paradigm. All of those things can be taken into consideration of your personal values, and then you live your life through those principles. And so that's gonna, include your spouse and your family and money and blah, blah, blah.